huge gap within the program.
I think it's an important distinction to make. It's not, yes, the layoffs are critical, but it's not the layoffs, it's the total positions that we lose. So if someone's retiring and we don't fill it, we're losing that position. So we don't have anybody there to serve, whether it's an elementary school or a middle school or a high school. So it's not a layoff of a body, but it's an elimination of a position, which we need.
Yeah, the kids are still coming
Right,
to
the
school.
kids are still coming to school.
The teacher's not, but
Right,
the
the
kids
teacher's not gonna be there, but the kids will still be there.
Carl, is the retiree attrition that you're accounted for in number 4 from level 1, is that the difference?
Well, number 4, no. What we've done here is, we were just talking before the meeting how we should represent that, but number 4 above retirees attrition represents retirees that have confirmed their intention to leave, and it's our understanding or expectation that we will be filling each of those slots.
Those ones,
Yeah.
so in
With
these
lower
ones.
salaried.
With lower salary. So that's why we separated it out.
Okay.
Whereas the ones down below
Are
are
the
potential,
eliminated positions.
not replacements.
Now, David, on that, I know it's skipping around to level 1, but on that retirees attrition, does that mean that, I know in the past you usually like to bring people in at, say, around step 4 or step 5, usually don't bring a lot of people in at step 1. Does that $109,000 still represent that strategy, or are you looking at bringing in really green teachers at step 1?
And I've been here 15 years, the principals have always asked, what should the target be? And my answer has always been, you get the best teacher that meets the needs of that grade level and school and team and department. Now, we found historically over years that averages master's level 3 or 4, that typically we're drawing teachers with some level of experience. This will be the first year, I believe, that I will say to the principals,
You have a budget.
you have a budget, well, we've always said you
Right,
have
but-
budgets, I don't want you to think
No,
that we
no.
started grabbing,
You have a
teachers
limit,
with
you have
12
a-
years
right.
experience,
Right.
all doctorate level. In
The lower
general, you have to look at a team. If you have a third grade
Exactly.
and you have, for example, at the Hood School, we had 3 vacancies. If we brought all 3 of those third grade teachers in, with this being their first year of teaching, I think we'd be doing a disservice
Right.
to children.
Yes.
Yes.
So we try to balance it so that there's some equity within the team, because we feel that team, a teacher with more experience can help a teacher who is just coming in for the first time. Same thing, might be, one area that we're really hit with this year is in middle school with this English language arts, with a number of resignations and retirements, and adding 4 new positions in that area. We have many teachers, in fact, the department head in the middle school has 2 or 3 years total teaching experience.
Right.
It's the department head. That's why I took the time to go through that staffing report to show you that out of the 215 teachers, over, what was it, you had the chart, 50% are in the first, second, or third year of teaching, not just the first year of teaching in North Reading. So this will be the first year that I will scrutinize very closely, and if we do have to hire, and we will be hiring, there are some positions we know we will have to fill. We have a retirement in Spanish, we're going to fill that. We have a retirement in reading, we're going to fill that. But we will look for bachelor level 1. And in the end, I think that ultimately that will affect, that could affect quality.
I suspect it will.
Especially since we got rid of the mentoring program.
So what do we need to do tonight? Do we need to take a vote? Do
Well-
we need to, because Carl, I always lose track of when the exact deadlines are, when we have to submit our budget, when we have to vote on a budget that goes to the selectmen. And I know it can change right up to being changed on the town meeting floor. But we do have to get them some number at some point, correct?
Right, but we could go Friday, we asked that question, and we're told that because financial matters at the April 6th town meeting won't come up, there, we have a little bit of a reprieve. So we'll ask that question again this Friday when we meet with the team.
So I think it's gonna be the end of April sometime, correct? When we,
Well, the 27th will be the...
27th will be when we discuss
Meeting.
financial.
Yes.
Right.
Which makes me imagine we still have, unless something else changes, we will have another couple weeks at least come up with our final number.
I don't think they're printing budgets this year. We
I-
talked
I-
about that
I
last
think
week.
you're right, it's just gonna be photocopied.
Right.
So again, the issue we have is, you know, we can go in with a certain budget number, but we are negotiating with the Teachers Association. And as David said, you have to have some sort of allocation for that, or we could take a risk and have none, and then maybe have to lay off even more teachers. I mean, that's a real potential.
And we're not sure when that would be concluded, you know, whether that'll end, the negotiations will end before the end of the school
Correct.
year.
And on the plus side, we have potential money coming in from the federal government and also from potential increase in meals and room tax. But I don't think that was warmly received by the legislature when it was introduced by our governor, so I'm not so sure that that's gonna get approved.
Now, I know that the town administrator is working diligently on the health insurance package, and the latest proposals from Blue Cross Blue Shield appear to, based on the current plan, looks like it will be a 6.4% increase. Now, earlier in the development of the budget, when we were taking off the top of fixed costs, it was more like
8.5.
8.5%. So I believe that lower cost increase is already reflected
I think it's reflected in
in
this, I believe.
Recap?
the latest recap.
I believe it is, yeah.
On the revenue. So the current plan called HMO Blue, and remember, each town is different because it's based on data that the insurance company provides based on usage. Just working off of a family plan, the HMO Blue plan is $1,558.50, and an individual of $579.69. And then the 70-30 split is applied, 70% town of that cost, 30% employee premium. The employees were notified last week of several other options that are under consideration. So these options have been distributed to all employees on the town and school side, and there will be a meeting coming up to discuss it. But the HMO Blue, one plan is to increase the co-pays to from a $5 office visit to a $15 office visit, and from a 25 emergency room to a $50 emergency room copay, and to also increase prescription costs for mail order only, basically doubling them. If you use a mail order prescription service, based on the kind of medication prescription you were obtaining, it would go to a $20, $40, and $70 copay, based on the number of days supply. With that plan, it would effectively reduce the family premium by about $100, and and the individual by about $40 per month. And then the split is applied.
So it almost
that.
eats up the increase in the co-pays.
Well, actually,
Depending on how much you go to, yeah, right.
Yeah. It actually, I think it's projected with that decrease in premium, is actually, you're gonna come out a little bit on top.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the only group that would be negatively impacted by this would be if you were, if you use the mail order prescription, because basically instead of getting a 90-day supply, you'd have to get 245 days, and it would cost you more.
So as I mentioned before, every year we're in a state of, an unfinished state when we're trying to put these budgets together. It seems like every year it gets more unfinished. I would say that what Dr. Troughton has presented tonight is pretty close to a worst-case scenario. It could be worse. We don't know. Our hope is that it gets better. I guess what I'd look for now is if anybody has any specific, I know that Mrs. Vaca and I have both said that on level 2, numbers 5, 6, and 7 I'd almost say are off the table, but those would be the last 3 cuts that I would make, and I think Mr. Venezia has expressed that earlier, and I think the whole committee has in terms of the teachers. I know that represents
So which one is it?
5, 6, and 7.
classroom teachers.
I'm not comfortable with any of these, but I think that those 3 have got to, we can't reduce teachers. And then
Well, number 9 is a teacher, and number 10
Yeah,
is
That's
that's why we
right.
said classroom.
Classroom teachers, right, specific teachers assigned to a classroom.
I mean, to the extent that you look at class sizes and you can merge some, then you pick up the savings
Right.
somewhere else.
Right. I mean, I guess I know that when we looked at I think both Mrs. Vaca and I had said, why don't you look at the elementary level? But when I looked at some of the numbers we're gonna see, 28, 29, 30 per class, I just wouldn't do it. Now, we do have an issue of an imbalance in terms of some schools have classrooms with 18, 19. And I really don't like short-term redistricting, but I think that's the only way to balance
Yeah.
those schools and classes.
Because if you can save the position and, turn back the technology integration teacher or some other priority, then we have to.
We did run, Dan Bodrin and the principals and Carl ran scenarios of reorganizing the schools.
Right.
The one school being like a K-1, and another school being 2, 3, and another school being 4, 5. And on one level, that achieves that balance at a particular grade level, because you,
You might actually be able to reduce a teacher, too,
yes,
depending
but
on the numbers.
the cost,
Transportation.
the
Transportation
transportation costs,
Because
because you have
everybody
so
gets
many
a ride.
children living outside of the 2-mile
Right.
circles around those schools, far outweighed any savings.
Right.
And then you have the whole disruption of,
3 schools.
3 schools.
5 schools by the time you're done.
So-
So you go to every school in North Reading.
Potentially different stuff.
Yeah.
We also looked, and it's probably the only one under still some level of consideration, is to keep 6th grade into the elementary schools, and move the preschool here to the middle school. However, the cost of that, there would be some structural things that would have to happen here. There would be some savings possibly on busing, because the busing is only required to the 6th grade. And there would be therefore,
Closer to home.
yes, and, but the space would be compromised in each of the 3 elementary schools. So in order to achieve that, most likely we would have to take away art, music, kinds of classrooms, computer labs in those schools to allow the 6th grade to, because our elementary school